On the news, court sentences BRT driver Omini Koron to death by hanging for killing fashion designer Bamishe. Seek 90 and NCDC warns of cholera surge. It's a pleasure to have you join you. And sentenced to death a bus rapid transit BRT driver Andrew Omini Koron for the murder of a 22-year-old fashion designer Bamishe Ayonwola. Justice Sarifat held that the prosecution, the Lagos State government, successfully proved beyond reasonable doubt that the defendants committed the offense. Although there was no eyewitness account of the incident, the court relied on a series of circumstantial evidence, the evidence of the pathologist, and the dying declaration of the victim, all of which the judge held pointed solely to the defendant as the last person to see her before her death on February 26, 2022.
He didn't do this thing alone, alright? So from the admissible voice notes Bamishe dropped, where made to know that there are other people in the bed, alright? There are other people in the bed. So if this is all Nigeria police can give us, they cannot bring the phone he was using to do the conversation. Because when this guy was tracked, he was actually tracked. He was tracking the phone of Bamishe and himself, and we were in the same location. Alright, so when he got this guy, definitely Bamishe's phone was with him. Alright, so what happened? What about the other accomplices? Alright, so for the judgment given on him, it is the maximum. Okay, it is the maximum. There is nothing bigger than being hanged. He has been given sentence by death by hanging. So this is the maximum anybody can get.
And tonight, Omini Koron, with others at large, it was confirmed in the court. So the question now is, who are those other 3 or 4 people? They should be identified, named, and brought to justice. That is our stand. So we're having a demand. It's a 3-point demand, not demand, just one demand. In the civil society, that we want demand. If 2 are met, 1 is not met, justice has not been given. That is one. Those who are there in the board at the time Bamishe was murdered should be identified, named, and brought to justice.
And in other stories, the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Drug Enforcement Administration have requested a 90-day extension from the district court to produce documents relating to an alleged drug investigation involving President Bola Tinubu dating back to the 1990s. The request was submitted in a joint status report filed with the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. The case stemmed from a series of Freedom of Information Act requests by an American legal transparency advocate and founder of the platform Plain Sardine, who is seeking the release of records connected to a Chicago-based drug ring and has named Tinubu along with 3 other individuals. And the National Assembly has pledged its full support for the progressive Larry Adebayo and members of his management team during a courtesy visit to the National Assembly complex in Abuja. Barrow further explained his personal commitment to ensuring the success of the Progressive Institute.
I commended all of you, commended National Chairman. So my commendation goes to National Chairman, of course, all of you, for bringing this institute into attention. And it's not going, all I know is that it's not going to be the benefit of APC as a party. No. It's not going to be. It is a journey for the entire democracy in this country. Not even this country, in the the entire region. And thank God I'm the first deputy speaker of ECOWAS Parliament. So I will also want to plead, I also want to extend a tentacle beyond the confines of this country.
The time is changed, hence peace and stability of this country, and also to ensure growth and development of all sectors, despite the global challenges of the economy and the insecurity. We have the belief of our leadership that we can be able to achieve a progressive and a vibrant progress as you will partner with you to enhance progress of this country.
An environment where party leaders can interact without competing, where they can interact and engage in discussing common issues concerning the party, issues of leadership, issues of financing, issues of reviewing what we've done in the last 2 years. So by 20 will have been 2 years. At the state level, and what we can do more, and then reviewing the manifesto of the party.
And Prevention, TVC, has issued a public health advisory following a significant surge in cholera in 9 states. During the media briefing in Abuja, the Director General of the NCDC, Jide Idris, season begins, warning that the situation inadequate access to clean water.
As we approach the during the 2025, the federal government issued a warning to 30 states and the federal capital territory about imminent flood risks. These years outreach a community-based forecasting approach designed to enhance preparedness and early response efforts across vulnerable regions. According to the forecast, 1,200 communities in 176 local government areas have been identified as high flood risk zones, and an additional 2,187 communities in 293 local government areas are classified as being at moderate risk of flooding. This proactive dissemination of localized flood risk data is expected to drive coordinated action at the federal, state, and community levels, ensuring timely interventions that can help prevent waterborne disease outbreaks like cholera. NCDC is actively tracking these occurrences. As at the epidemic with 16, that week ending April 20th, 1,307 suspected cases of cholera have been reported across 30 states and 98 local government areas, with 34 associated deaths.
And in furtherance of its commitment to strategically position Ogoni youth in high-demand skill areas, the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project HYPREP at the CRAB Theatre Arts Department, University of Port Harcourt, has commenced the livelihood training of 100 Ogoni youths in creative arts, one of the 4 specialized skills in its Sustainable Livelihood program. The project coordinator of HYPREP, Barini Dabe, represented by the Director, Technical Services, Damian Paul Aguni, said the program is in fulfillment of the project's promise to provide value addition and high-demand skills for Ogoni youths. He emphasized that the strategic partnership with the Theatre Arts Department of the University of Port Harcourt is to ensure quality training for the trainees.
Take this training seriously. Learn what you can. The knowledge acquired is yours. It is not the people paying for it that knows it. Men of experience. The same people who train some of the Nollywood people you know around. All our own people. They all pass through this Uniport School of Theatre Arts. So you are in a fertile environment. So the program is in 2 phases. The first phase is a 3-week theory program. And then in the 4th week, we'll have the master classes. That is where we'll have Charles Inoje, we'll have Gezu, Judodo to take you on all these other aspects so that you have an industry-based training experience. That's why we call it the master class, one-on-one with a resource person who is a celebrity in that area.
I feel overwhelmed because this program, we have applied for a long time now. So when I saw the message that I should come for this orientation program, I was so happy. I had to leave Akwa Ibom State to my state in order for me to partake in this program. So I'm happy. I thank HyPrep for this wonderful program that they gave to the people of Ogoni. I'm so happy.
And on to security matters, some of the villagers in communities that suffered deadly attacks from suspected herders in early April in Bokos local government area of the North Central Plateau State have begun returning home to begin life all over again. At least 50 villagers were killed and many others displaced when the gunmen attacked several villages, especially at Horti community in Bokos. The villagers blame Fulani herders for the attack and are demanding justice. TV360 special correspondent Deji Badumosi has more on the story.
Inspecting what's left of his home after the attacks of April 2nd.
Okay.
Mareng Arandom Makwan is the head, or Sef as they're called locally, of Horti community where the attacks took place. His house is among the over 100 burnt and looted when the suspected armed herders raided the community in broad daylight. Despite his loss, he's lucky to be alive. Over 50 of his subjects were not so lucky. They were brutally killed.
They were 3 in 1 on motorcycles. More on their own gunshots. The other person is taking this direction. Non-stop. He who it gets you is he who escape from that tree on something. Because after firing this, killing and other wells. Cars burning, lots of they looted it, they burned others.
Almost everyone in the community was affected.
I lost so many things. I lost my children. I lost, in fact, my house. I lost.
I'm in pain. All my house is burned. No food, but by His grace, I thank God with what our government are doing. They help us with some food and clothes. That is why you can see me like this. Because I don't have any clothes to wear. But this is what my friends offer me from the neighboring village.
Many of the dead have since been buried in this mass grave. Despite their pain and loss, the survivors remain undaunted.
My people are back. They are farming now. And I still ask government if it is true. Let them assist us with fertilizer and security very well. Because once there is security, everybody will be comfortable to farm, to take care of the farm, and it is their wealth. We shall come back to maybe the first level we were before, by God's grace. And I'm praying, let these things serve as the beginning and end of it.
The immediate need I want presently is food, because people are taking refuge at the Horti Market Square, whereby we don't have food. and followed by we need medication because right now some people are in hospital, and in fact we need roofing materials in order to roof our houses because it's the rainy season, whereby we need to go back to farm and we don't have anywhere to settle. We don't have clothing because many of our clothing were born off.
Plateau State has a history of deadly clashes between farmers and herders. The Houthi community had been spared until the attack of April 2nd. The villagers blamed the attack on Fulani herders, who they say had long been living in the community.
They pretend it is the unknown people that came. But lively, I have the names of our neighbors, the Fulanis, because they were talking Fulani language. And there are some of the Fulanis that they are the very people that save over 100 of my people, even. No, 70. Not up to 100. 50 to 70. They save. And they were communicating. It is when the Fulani say, don't do it, they will not. But using their language. If they say do it, they will do it by their language. If there is any new faces that came, but the plan is originated by the neighbors we are living together. And I have their list now.
But before they we were living peacefully. We don't know, in fact, how this initiative just came up. But looking at what is happening, I look at it as if these people are looking for an area to graze their cattle in order to live and farm and enjoy their life.
The survivors are still mourning their loss, but they vowed never to abandon their land, regardless of attacks.
I better die in this land because that is the oath I have taken. I will die here. Anybody that runs to another place, I know if he die, they will bring his corpse here, and it is here they will bury him. That is why I feel let my people not go anywhere. I ask the government for an assistance, food, security, network, right? If I can get this road, thank you. If I can get these 4 things for any act, somebody will inform us.
The attacks of April 2nd shattered the peace that has long existed in Houthi community. The mutual trust between the natives and the settlers is now broken. Mending it will definitely take a long time. Some say a lifetime. DG Bademasi, TV360, Houthi, Plateau State, in north-central Nigeria.
And we'll go on a short break now, but still to come, AFDB commits $650 million annually to drive Nigeria's economic transformation. Details of this story will be brought to you right after this break. Welcome back. Here's a recap of some of our top stories. The Lagos High Court stated in Tafawa Balewa Square has convicted and sentenced to death a bus rapid transit driver, Andrew Ominikoron, for the murder of a 22-year-old fashion designer, Bamishe Ayonwola. In a judgment that lasted over 2.5 hours, Justice Serifa Chunaike held that the prosecution, the Lagos State government, successfully proved beyond reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the crime. We also told you that the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Drug Enforcement Administration have requested a 90-day extension from a district court to produce documents relating to an alleged drug investigation involving President Bola Tinubu dating back to the 1990s. The request was submitted in a joint status report filed with the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. And in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and ABO TV. Or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And it's now time for business news, and Okwayemi Owusheni is on standby. Okwayemi, what's the latest?
Thank you, Joy. Well, the African Development Bank has approved a new 5-year country strategy paper for Nigeria, committing about $650 million annually to drive Nigeria's economic transformation. The bank, in a statement published on its website, disclosed that the fund will not only drive economic transformation, but also build resilience and foster broad-based prosperity across the country. Under the new strategy, the bank will provide $2.95 billion over the first 4 years, complemented by an estimated $3.21 billion in co-financing from development partners. We'll go on a break now and be back with update from the stock markets. Welcome back. Now, investors' interest in consumer goods and industrial stocks pushed equities value higher by 182 billion naira in the 4-day trading week ended Friday, May 2nd, 2025. Nigeria's stock market rose by 0.23% in the week under review, following 3 days of positive closes as against a day of negative close. Now, Nigerian Aviation and Linco led the gainers with a 10% share price appreciation, closing at 82 naira 50 kobo per share. Just followed closely by Cadbury Nigeria, which closed at 31 naira 90 kobo per share. Now, overall, investors exchanged 573 million shares across 18,551 deals with a market value of 13 billion naira. Now, when compared with the previous NGX trading day, that's Wednesday, April 30th, today's data shows 46% improvement in volume, 9% improvement in turnover, and 6% improvement in the number of deals. Now, turning our gaze to the international market, it's a similar situation as all the stock recorded bullish trade. Now, in the foreign exchange market, the naira continues to weaken against major currencies as of today. The US dollar is trading at 1,620 naira, the British pound at 2,060 naira, and the euros at 1,730 naira on the black market. And that's a wrap on today's market report. Joy, over to you now for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Okwayemi. And now, in other countries, Gaza's Civil Defense Agency says Israeli strikes has killed at least 20 people on Friday in the Palestinian territory, devastated by war and under a total Israeli aid blockade for 2 months. Israel resumed its military campaign in the Gaza Strip on March 18 after a ceasefire that had largely halted the fighting collapsed. Civil defense official Mohammed al-Mughai told journalists 20 people had been killed since dawn on Friday, including 9 following the Israeli bombardment of a home in Buresh camp in central Gaza. And still on the foreign scene, the Duke of Sussex has lost his legal challenge against the Home Office over his UK security arrangements. Prince Harry challenged the dismissal of his High Court claim against the Home Office after the Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures decided he should receive a reduced degree of security protection when in the country. The court's ruling, Judge Sir Geoffrey Voss said although the Duke's arguments were powerful and moving, he could not say the Duke's sense of grievance translated into a legal argument for the challenge to Ravek's decision. And finally, on sports, the Nigeria National League NNL has imposed a fine of 3 million naira on Gosulakwebio FC for assault and intimidation of match officials. The NNL also ordered the Uyo Township Stadium closed to fans for the remainder of the season. Gosulakwebio FC were found guilty of assault and intimidation of match officials during their match day 15 encounter with Rovers FC, which ended in a 2-2 draw. And still on sport, English centre-back Eric Dier will leave Bayern Munich at the end of the season when his contract is up, the club's sporting director has disclosed on Friday. Dier's contract expires on June 30th, but Bayern are still in talks in a bid to extend that temporarily to cover the Club World Cup, which runs from March 14th to July 13th in the United States. He touched down in Munich on loan in January 2024, establishing himself as a starter in defense alongside Matthijs de Ligt under then-coach Thomas Tuchel. And that wraps up our bulletin on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Joy Ucheje. See you next time.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
This is just the token of my appreciation.
Oh, no. You don't need to do this. We are only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came up with this one now? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome to another episode on Startups. I'm Tamilore Akinkwolye. Now, every year, companies and institutions around the world grapple with the growing menace of forged certificates and falsified credentials. But one Nigerian startup is changing the game with an innovative solution, the Akawe app. Now, today we'll dive into the story of a revolutionary app that is tackling the global challenge of document falsification. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Akawe.
Akawe is an online platform designed to reduce the incidence of credential fraud in the job market. We've built out technology that allows employers to be able to instantly verify the authenticity of academic records, as well as technology that allows educators to be able to issue digital certificates easily. My name is Ayodiji Agbola, and I'm the founder of Akowe.
Initially, Akowe was funded with a simple mission: to approve and manage certificates for individuals. However, as demand for reliable verification grew, the app evolved into a cutting-edge platform used to confirm the authenticity of credentials and certificates.
The story starts from when we were trying to solve our own problem. We did have a contract in 2018 with Facebook where we were training lots of small business owners on how to use Facebook products for business. And after the training, we need to give certificates. We trained a total of about 70,000 people across 4 years. And you can imagine trying to give certificates to this large number of people. So I decided to build a simple solution that could easily issue these certificates out to these recipients. So we're looking for an English name for this application because I realized that we weren't the only ones who had the problem. There were other Facebook partners who had the same problem. And there were other educators out there who were running trainings and who wanted to issue certificates. And there was a need for a simple tool like what we had built. I was looking for an English name that would work. I just couldn't find any, especially as we wanted to buy a domain name that was appropriate. And we tried so many different English names. And after a lot of frustration not finding an appropriate name, I started to think, okay, maybe we should go indigenous with this. And the name Akowe popped into my head. And simply because of what it describes what the application does. At the time, the application would simply write your name on the certificate and then issue it out to you. So it was an application that writes, right? So that was why I named it Akowe. But it's turned out to be a great name because it's now even doing many other things around academic space, around graduates and the likes. And you know, typically a literate person is what you call an Akowe or a clerk, you know, in the Yoruba language. So that's the story behind that. So shortly after we launched the initial product, which was issuing of certificates, quite a number of our customers started asking, okay, thank you for this, but can you help us verify certificates? And that was obviously not why we built the application in the first place. Then we started looking into that problem, and then we realized that that was even a bigger problem because quite a number of either postgraduate schools or employers had a challenge trying to verify whether this person they're trying to hire, you know, actually has the grade that they say that they do. You know, because there's no system in place that is quick and fast that can help people, you know, actually get that information. Because what happens is, if you need to verify credentials, you either send someone to the school or you call the school, and that takes a bit of time before you get that answer.
Akowe has quickly gained recognition as a one-in-a-million solution to the global issue of document fraud by allowing companies and universities to verify and upload documents securely. The app has become a trusted tool for maintaining integrity in recruitment, academics, and more.
They just, you know, give themselves a little notch upwards to the next grade. So if you had a second class lower, you would say you have a second class upper. You know, most people don't go and say they have a first class. They just, you know, go to the next upper grade so that there is a higher chance that an employer could say, okay, you have a good grade, we can hire you. So that's what you find that is very rampant. Many times as well, because there are no systems to easily check, somebody who didn't graduate would have a CV that says they graduated from so-so school. You know, it's so hard to check. So even if you're book smart or whatever it is, you might get hired even if you didn't graduate from school, and then your performance might then start to show that, okay, you said you had this grade, how come your performance is this way? And that's how people have been discovered over the years to see, okay, your performance doesn't meet what you say you have in your CV. So you have many of those types of different methods that people do often. So with what we have done, which we have aggregated a lot of academic records onto our platform, it means that you can check and you can get information instantly. So for providing that instant information to you, you pay. So to access the system, we allow you some free trials where you can sign up, create an account, go into the platform and check a few names for free. And after that free trial, then you have to pay to continue to access the information. So basically you pay to search and then you pay to download a generated report. That generated report is what you can keep in your files as HR department.
While these features have brought much needed efficiency to credential verification, some skeptics have raised concerns about the safety of sensitive data on the server. But Ayodeji, the visionary founder of Akowe, assures users that the app servers are maintained and protected steadily to prevent hacking and data breaches.
Your academic records they're permanent records. Once your academic record has been issued by your school, it's a permanent record. It's not supposed to change, right? People change it because of nefarious reasons. So what we're building out a solution where people can list their academic records on our platform. And because it's supposed to be a permanent record, we use blockchain technology to secure that permanence. It's tamper-proof and all of that. But however, who is to say that what you are listing on the platform is actually authentic? That's why we have multiple ways for actually verifying what you are listing. Once we verify that what you are listing is the same thing that the university has issued, and there are multiple other ways that we can actually verify that information, we then make it tamper-proof on the blockchain. So in essence, what it means is that a person can have their academic dossier on the Akowe app and their entire education history going backwards or even going forwards, right? So with that, anybody should be able to check this person. Which school did they go to for primary school? Which school did they go for secondary school? What did they come out for the university with? And things like that. That entire academic history is important information. Right now, it's scattered everywhere, and that's why Akowe is a very collaborative company. We're speaking with people who already work with secondary schools using software to say, hey, there's a lot of education history that you guys have access to. There are people willing to pay to see the education history. Let's collaborate and let's put it out together. So that helps to solve some of those problems.
The app's impact doesn't end there. Recognizing a broader need, Akowe has expanded its services to include undergraduates, enabling their credentials to be confirmed when they apply for loans. This feature is helping young people access opportunities while also ensuring transparency and accountability.
Right now, we're developing 2 new other products that we found that market is asking for, right? Again, people have come to us. We need to verify undergraduates. And something as simple as that, nobody in Nigeria today can do that. If you are an undergraduate, you are in 100 level, no. You are in 100 level, you're a 200 level student. Maybe a bank wants to give you 50% off to be able to buy this laptop. They cannot verify that you are a 200 level undergraduate from this school. It's just, there's no way to do that because there's no system in place that anybody can trust that says that you are actually an undergraduate from this school. Because are you going to bring your ID card? Anybody can make an ID card, right? So we're building a collaborative solution with the universities as well to say, let's be able to verify without a doubt that this person is an undergraduate, is doing microbiology, and is from this school. Next year, we can say, yes, he's still doing microbiology, but he's now in 200 level, right? And that cannot be done in isolation. It has to be a collaborative effort, private partnerships, universities themselves, and then customers from outside can pay to access that.
When asked about government collaboration, Akowe's leadership remains tight-lipped. However, the app has secured partnership with prominent organizations in Nigeria, a testament to its credibility and trustworthiness.
You really can't execute business without the government. You must register your business as a legal entity. So the government must be aware that you're doing something and what you're doing is legal, right? So But the challenge has been that Nigeria is very peculiar in the sense that, great ideas often find their ways to the top and often just find a way to be replicated even when you get what I mean. So, and that's happened to us quite a number of times. So we figure that the goal or the objective, or if you're going to win in this market, that's probably not the way to go. We're also aware that the government is also trying to build out similar solutions. And, again, if everybody is trying to solve the same problem, I believe that collaborative efforts get us there faster. Akọ̀wé is very difficult because it's not just B2B, it's B to universities. And if you understand universities, and not just Nigerian universities, universities across the world are not known to drive innovation. They're very slow to move. They're very, very academic, and therefore they're not very easily swayed to move into new technologies, especially African universities. So it's really, really difficult. And what we've been able to do is to show to them that there's a whole lot of revenue, there's a whole lot of innovation that if we work together, we can unlock a lot of revenue for they themselves, the universities, and a lot of ease for their stakeholders, graduates, lecturers, and for instance, it takes forever to get a transcript, even as of today. Like, why? Why should it take forever? The technology is there, the data is available, we just need to be able to work together. So the biggest challenge has always been that being able to work with universities in a way that technology would be the solution end to end.
One of the company's greatest milestones came on the global stage. Akọ̀wé's effort to bridge the gap in document verification earned them recognition at a prestigious event in the States, where they were celebrated for their innovative approach to a global problem.
I would say when we were invited to pitch at TechCrunch Startup Battlefield in the USA, it was 2023. We had applied for the program in around April, and I promptly forgot about it, and then in August I got an email to say, hooray, you're welcome, we're inviting you to the US to come and pitch your startup on a global stage. And that was a great milestone because for Akọ̀wé to have been chosen out of about 3,000 global applications, and they chose only 200, that was a great morale booster that, okay, we're solving something really global here. And TechCrunch, if you know TechCrunch is a global brand, right? So that was validation for us. And that also helped us to realize that it was not a Nigerian problem, because standing on the stage in San Francisco, talking to a global audience about the problem you're solving from Nigeria, you had to find a way to make them relate to it. And there was a great aha moment where people realized that I'm from India, I have the same problem. I'm from Pakistan, I have the same problem. So that was a great moment for us to actually see that, okay, we are onto something here.
On the African front, Akọ̀wé has established a partnership with a company in Kenya, marking the beginning of its expansion across the continent. This collaboration underscores the app's mission to make the world a better place, one credential at a time.
Absolutely. So we have a partnership right now where that partner already sells credential verification in Kenya. And once that partnership has been finalized, it means that Akọ̀wé will be able to provide credential verification for Kenyans. So if you are a Nigerian trying to hire a Kenyan, you'll be able to come on our platform and verify that Kenyan based off of that partnership that we have. And it's a two-way thing. So that partner also will be able to access all of the records that we have in West Africa to be able to sell. So collaborations like that help us scale very quick. And this is not just a problem we're trying to solve for Nigeria alone. So think about West Africa, East Africa. The problem exists across sub-Saharan Africa, basically, and many parts of the world as well that are not on the African continent. So we want to make sure we focus on the first iteration. If it's good enough and people like it and people seem to find value in it, I think it then begins easily scale. Okay. Earlier we talked about the Benin Republic and the issues that are happening there. We are in conversations with companies in Benin Republic where we're trying to say, this is our solution. We want to bring it into the country and actually help solve that problem. So already we see that the problems exist, and with digital technologies, you can scale and solve those problems at scale. But you have to get it right. And once you get it right, it's easily replicable, across countries.
Looking to the future, Akawe has bigger plans. The team is exploring opportunities to extend their services to secondary schools, focusing on reducing the alarming rate of fake results in WAEC and JAMB. This move will revolutionize the education system and provide a foundation for a more transparent academic process.
Welcome back. Now, global financial services often present daunting challenges for businesses in emerging markets, from arbitrary compliance thresholds to perceived risks and sudden service disruptions. Now, businesses frequently face obstacles that hinder their ability to scale and grow. Today, we turn our focus to a company revolutionizing cross-border payments and financial accessibility. Let's dive into the story of Waza and its groundbreaking platform, Link.
Waza is the B2B payments platform for emerging market businesses. We're helping businesses to make global payments, or to source FX liquidity to pay their suppliers and vendors globally. We've recently launched a product called Link, which is infusing this great FX liquidity product that we offer customers in a banking experience, right? And so our customers now have better control over their money, and they can make payments globally from a dashboard. They can access FX liquidity, get great rate, access different payment methods. I'm Maxwell Obi. I'm the CEO of Waza.
Registered in the United States as a money service business, Waza specializes in foreign exchange and money transmission. Since launching its start in January 2023, the company has partnered with financial powerhouses like Visa and Currency Cloud to deliver payment services and account issuance. In just 1 year, Waza has served hundreds of businesses, processing an impressive $700 million in annualized payment volume while facilitating payments across 6 continents.
Waza is the B2B payments platform for emerging market businesses. We're helping businesses to make global payments, or to source FX liquidity to pay their suppliers and vendors globally. We've recently launched a product called Link, which is infusing this great FX liquidity product that we offer customers in a banking experience, right? And so our customers now have better control over their money, and they can make payments globally from a dashboard. They can access FX liquidity, get great rate, access different payment methods.
But Waza is not stopping there. To address the unique challenges faced by businesses in emerging markets, Waza recently introduced a new product called Link. Designed as a viable alternative to existing financial solutions, Link offers multi-currency. These accounts enable payments to more than 100 countries and are equipped with robust features that extend beyond traditional wallets.
There's a big void that Link is feeling in the market, because traditional banks haven't been able to cater to the needs of these businesses over time. They have an outsized perception of risks for businesses that operate in higher risk jurisdictions like emerging markets in Africa, Southeast Asia, etc. And so we decided to plug that gap by launching Link, which is, it's not a different brand, but it's a different product under the same brand, right? And so it's still solving B2B payments from the perspective of FX and now banks. Small businesses, startups, other financial institutions, corporates, even large organizations can use Link. I would say if you have a need to operate in the global market, or you have a need for international banking, and you're operating in an emerging market, automatically you will be perceived as high risk, and we are the alternative, we are the go-to for you. So that's our target, right? And that's from a customer segmentation standpoint. If you take a wider scan from a market perspective, we want to look at markets that have a lot of cross-border activity and a lot of buzzing startup ecosystem, right, or startup activity. Even as we target corporates and large multinationals, right, or even if large corporates and enterprises are part of the customer segment, they are not our sole target. We know that startups are also super affected. So we want them to also bank on Link. We want them to come get their multi-currency accounts, do exchange, and just use us as a de facto banking platform to make payments to their vendors and suppliers globally.
What sets Link apart is its comprehensive payment support. This ensures businesses with operations across the globe which can efficiently manage their payments and focus exchange liquidity on a single platform.
Most people that have tried to provide multi-currency platforms approach it from a mature market mindset. We're taking a very localized approach, paying attention to emerging market businesses that cannot access international banking services. Like, I mean, if you take a quick look at what happened last year, banks like Mercury, fintech banks, or other financial institutions like Mercury, SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, began to shut down businesses that have either directors or UBOs in emerging markets that deem high risk, right? So it's not, we on the other hand have provided this service with a keen eye for streamlined compliance processes, speed, and cost, right? If you can bank with these guys, you can bank with us. And not only have we streamlined that compliance process for you, we can now give you can deliver your payments very fast within the same day. FX, yes, is a great value prop there, but it is not the entire thing. Transaction fees, we don't charge a monthly transaction fee, it's really cheap. Eventually, as we launch more features and evolve the product, there will be more customer segments unlocked, right? We're thinking about building APIs that will cater to other financial institutions that want to build on top of our infrastructure. And when we think about B2B payments, which is our core focus, it's usually happening in the context of trade. And trade can be seen as an ecosystem. There's a supply side, there's a demand side. So there are other things we will launch that will also cater to suppliers in different jurisdictions and unlock new customer segments. But today, businesses, importers, exporters, corporates, startups would be our ideal customer target.
Importantly, Waza clarifies that it is not a bank. Instead, the company partners with banks that are adhere to strict rules and regulations in each country of operation. This strategic approach ensures compliance while maintaining flexibility and innovation.
First, Waza or Link is not a bank, we're a technology company. And so all of these services are provided in partnership with licensed financial institutions. So we've been able to build on top, I would say, really strict compliance protocols and whatever other value services that they can offer. Today, we're making great progress we want to launch interest on deposits, financing. These are all value-added services that makes us stand out, right? So it's not just, yes, we're going to give you faster payments, cheaper payments, a streamlined compliance approach so you can actually bank with us if you can get access to the US banking infrastructure. But also, eventually, we're going to launch other features to cater to all your needs for you to actually operate competitively in the global financial market.
Speaking about the operation in Nigeria, Maxwell Obi, the Waza CEO and co-founder, emphasized the adaptive approach to navigating local policies, highlighting Waza's commitment to supporting businesses in emerging markets.
First and foremost, we pay really keen attention to security, trust, compliance. We don't joke with these things. It's top priority for us. I think I would also reemphasize that we are not a bank. We are a technology company that is building on top the services and licensing of banking partners that are have strict adherence to AML, CTF, and other regulatory requirements, right? But beyond that, if you take a look at the banking side of things, these guys are already complying with all of these regulations, right? They're complying with the central bank regulations, the BSA Act in the US, and other regulatory bodies. So from a banking standpoint, there is that compliance aspect and trust and security. From a technology standpoint, we've also tried to pay attention to global standards in terms of building the product. So we've implemented bank-grade encryption, security protocols, and we also pay strict attention to KYC and KYB regulations. And we also licensed, right? We're registered as an MSB with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network of the US. We're also licensed by the Central Bank as an IMTO. So while why that regulation or directive is in place, we pay attention to it, and we try to operate together with our banking partners within the frameworks of the regulators.
Despite being incorporated and operational in the US, UK, and EU, WASA has identified a significant challenge for businesses with ties to emerging market. These barriers often lead to service discontinuation, uncompleted transactions, and disrupted trade flows, resulting in substantial financial losses and hampering business growth. Link was developed to address these critical issues. The platform's extensive payment capabilities and competitive FX rate ensures businesses can manage their finances efficiently while also scaling globally.
And that's how we have on today's episode on Startups. I'm Tamilore Akinkolie. See you again next time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of 360 Health. I am Okechukwu Ukekwe. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has approved the recruitment of 34 resident doctors for a 7-year residency training to enhance healthcare delivery in FCT. The Senior Special Assistant to the Minister on Public Communication and Social Media, Lere Olayinka, made this known in a statement in Abuja. He explained that the 34 doctors would be the first batch of 60 medical doctors approved for residency training in 8 specialists in FCT administration hospitals. And the Sokoto State Commissioner for Health, Farouk Wurno, has expressed deep concern over the use of harmful traditional practices by local barbers in treating metal poisoning cases. The Health Commissioner commended the practice of making inclusion on patients' stomachs as a form of treatment and called for its immediate cessation. Speaking during the presentation of the government supplied drugs for metal poisoning treatment at General Hospital, he emphasized the need for affected individuals to seek medical attention at hospitals instead of resorting to unsafe traditional method. He, represented by the Executive Director of the State Hospital Service Management Board, Bello Atahuru, assured that the government will distribute the essential drug to all general hospitals handling metal poisoning cases. And the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has raised concerns over the increasing number of cerebrospinal meningitis cases across the country, saying its peak season is between November and May. The latest figure indicates a surge in infection with 807 suspected cases and 47 deaths reported across 22 states and the Federal Capital Territory as of 26 March 2025. The NCDC Director General Jide Idris said this in an interview with newsmen in Abuja. He said the agency has activated emergency response measures to curb the outbreak, particularly in Kebbi, Katsina and Sokoto, the most affected areas. According to him, in Kebbi State, health authorities have confirmed 248 suspected cases and 26 deaths since late January. He described the situation as alarming. We'll go on a short break and the program will return shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Today we are shining the spotlight on the major developments in Nigeria's health sector. While the Nigerian President Bola Tinubu Ahmed has approved the creation of over 8,800 new primary health care centers across Nigeria, making a significant stride in the federal government health sector renewal investment initiative. The announcement was made by Vice President Kashim Shettima during the commissioning of the Suleiman Adebola Adegunwa Trauma Center in Shagamu, Ogun State. Vice President Shettima reaffirmed the government's commitment to addressing the country's health care challenges through strategic investment and public-private partnership. However, he noted that the responsibility of developing the sector cannot rest solely on the government. He described the newly inaugurated trauma center as a critical addition to Nigeria's emergency medical infrastructure, symbolizing the federal government's unwavering dedication to preserving lives. So what does this mean to the ordinary Nigeria? How realistic is the plan? And what are the challenges ahead? Well, to help us unpack all of this, we are joined by medical practitioner Dr. T.U. Mebawondu. Thank you for joining us on the program. So let's start with the big picture. How significant is the move to establish 8,800 new PHCs across Nigeria in terms of improving healthcare access?
Well, let's first of all understand the challenges of primary healthcare centers in Nigeria. What you should realize is that presently we have about 30,000 primary healthcare centers in 774 local governments of Nigeria. Okay? Out of all these 30,000 primary healthcare centers, just about 20% of them are functioning. We're talking about less than about 6,000 or 7,000 of those primary healthcare centers are functioning. So we are left with a large number, 80% of them are not functioning. So now the question is that, what are the factors that are not making them functioning? Because we expect the primary health care center to deliver basic health. Of course, there's the basic health fund provision in the budget. We expect them to deliver the basic health to the people nearest to them in a way that the people will not be going to the secondary center or tertiary center for ordinary malaria or even to check their blood pressure. So that is the purpose. Now, for you to do that, you must be able to equip those primary health care centers, make it affordable to the people, put human resources there, put equipment there, and let the place be responsive to the people. But what we're seeing is actually shortage of human resources, shortage of material, and most of those primary healthcare centers, 80% of the primary healthcare centers in Nigeria are not being patronized. The utilization is so low, and for us, we have to figure out how to increase utilization capacity. Now, if you are setting up additional 8,800 primary healthcare centers in Nigeria, what it means is that what is going to be so special about them that is not in those one that's already in existence? Are we going to resolve the issue of human resources and materials and equipment in those primary healthcare centers separate from the one we have now? And we must understand the fact that
once you move away from the city centers, those primary care centers rarely function. The challenge of conflict, the challenge of insurgencies are there, the challenge of security challenge is also making people not to be able to attend those primary health care centers. I think the first thing is to ensure that the primary health care centers, even in existence, are properly equipped, properly structured, make available for people to patronize before you then decide that you need to set up more.
So from your perspective, what are the most urgent healthcare gaps those new centers aim to bridge?
Like I said, you see, it's not about infrastructure. It's actually about what is available in those primary health care centers and how people patronize those primary health care centers. If you build additional primary health care centers, where are the health workers you are going to put in those primary health care centers? Where is the money to manage those primary health care centers? Just note that the funding of the primary health care center is not improving. In a way, it's reducing. By the time you now add those ones, the funding will reduce further. So the big question is that what are the means of funding those primary health care centers? It's not just about establishing them. You can build, I don't know why you need to build another one, when more than 20,000 of the 30,000 you have on ground are not working. So why don't we make those ones work first? I can tell you that even within Lagos here, once you leave central Lagos and you go into the peripheral area, the primary health care centers are not working. They're not working. So let's resolve the challenges facing those primary health care centers first before we consider establishing another one. I may agree that maybe in some local government, you may not have sufficient coverage in terms of those primary health care centers. Yeah, if you want to add one or two, maybe. But what is rationale for that 8,800 new ones you are establishing? So where are the doctors or even where the health workers to mind all those things? Where are the equipment to put on all those places? You know, how do we increase the confidence of the people in those new primary health care centers? So what is happening to what we're having now that we cannot utilize them fully first? Let us even achieve like 70% utilization of those primary health care that we have on ground. Then we can now start thinking of adding another one. But what we're having now is that the primary health care that operate in Nigeria, they are not responding to the maternal mortality, of course. We about the second largest in the world. They are not responding to infant mortality. They are not responding to our immunization concerns. They are not preventing sudden catastrophic health occurrences like complication of hypertension or diabetes. So they are not responding to all these things. So why do we need to set up create an 8,800?
So do you think the Nigerian government has the capacity to build and sustain the number of centers they said they will do?
It's not about building. Hospital is not just building. Hospitals is more of human resources, the people you put in that hospital to work. Now you can secure funds to build the hospital. I think what government should be doing, let's even be practical about all these things. What government should be doing more now is actually cutting private sectors, cutting people to adopt primary healthcare centers, especially in those remote areas where those one can help run, manage, and put infrastructure in those primary healthcare centers to make it functional. And I think government need to embrace the community initiative that will allow campaigns of the common diseases and how to identify danger signals in health issues. So I think government should be doing more of that, looking for those that can adopt the primary health care center, not building a new set of primary health care center. Because I don't know, if you want to build this, not the time. But of course, you know that politicians always want to build. They want to build things so that we have this, we have that. Then we know what MDGs or build MDGs, how much of those things they build in, you know. But now, what are we seeing?
So many rural communities struggle with poor infrastructure. How do you think this reform will address issues like staffing, electricity, and equipment in remote areas?
It won't address it. Rather, you are multiplying those challenges. You know, it's obvious it won't address it. because terrains, one of the key factors that could be a challenge to utilization of primary health care could be actually transportation. You know, it's not easy for them to move from one locality to another due to constraints. Now, look at the energy costs. That's another big problem that may hamper their ability to utilize that primary health center. Even within the primary health care center, you need to provide energy, you need to provide light. Of course, most of the solar panels I observe around the primary health care centers in Nigeria, they are dilapidated, they are broken down. You need to provide water. And then again, that has to be by borehole again. Most of those boreholes are not maintained, and that becomes an issue. You need to be able to encourage the human resources to stay within that locality. Now, how many people really want to go to the rural area and stay there? So, myriads of problems. I think the way to address this is not to start building additional primary health care center. It's to find out how we can use the one we have sufficiently.
Do you think the Nigerian government is currently producing enough trained workers to staff this number of new centers they are proposing to build?
Recently, you know that all the hospitals, all the teaching hospitals in Nigeria all the universities can only produce about 3,000 doctors maximum in a year. That's the maximum. I'm talking about doctors now. When you come to lab scientists, they're actually lower. Pharmacists are actually be about the same numbers. Now, recently, the federal government, through the Ministry of Health, gave more allocations to those universities to produce more doctors, to produce more health workers. But those ones will require time. There's a gestation. You can't wake up and bring out nurses today. They have to wait for about 4 years before they can become nurses. Doctors must wait for about 8 years before they can become doctors. So, you know, we have a gap to fill. How do we fill this gap? Are you going to bring in doctors? We don't want to talk about the quantity of those ones that are leaving the country. The health sector, addressing the challenges of health sector, is not, I can put my feet down on this. It's not by multiplying primary health care center. It's by making those ones available functional. That is the first point. So, because in reality, basically in that primary health care center, you need at least a community health worker. You need somebody we need a pharmaceutical technician. You need those basic people. Where are they? Where are those ones that are going to spread around the country? How many are you producing? The rest, a lot of them are leaving the country. Even some of them that have job now, government does not want to employ them. Some of them that don't have job, government does not want to employ them. They have to be on the street looking for where to get a job. I think the government can really look wholly. If they want to partner with private people, partner on how to adopt those non-functional primary health care centers, wherever they are.
Now, looking back, Nigeria has seen other health reforms in the past. From your experience, what are some lessons from past healthcare projects that the government should keep in mind while rolling out this one?
The greatest obstacle to health reforms or health policy is health politics. We can do reforms, the reforms must be followed through. But what happens is that when a new government comes, they come with their own reform and jettison what is ongoing. So we see a lot of gaps, a lot of incomplete in all those things that have been done. That is what we see. So reforms, good ones in the past, but why are we not sustaining it? Because the political person that the new political man think that can bring a new thing into those health reforms. And then when he does that, he has to start from the zero. And then the other aspect of it is that we are not having sufficient money to drive healthcare. Now, if you look at our budget, we're doing 5%. Even this year, we're doing 5% for health. And then we have a recommendation of 15% of our total budget for health. But we're just 5%. Now, the another challenge is that most of those NGOs or multilateral or bilateral institutions that tend to help us and bridge the gap, like USAID, like DFID, like World Bank, all of them are slowing down in their funding of critical support for healthcare. Now, what it means is that we're going to experience more gaps in terms of delivery of money to health. Not only that, they don't just bring money, they bring in some technical skills. For instance, some how to identify diseases and epidemics. They bring human resources on, on surveillances, epidemiology. All those ones will have to be reduced now, and we have to rely on our own people to see what is possible. So I can tell you, it's a lot of gaps, but we have to start somewhere. But I don't think it's about building additional health facilities.
In the area of maternal and child care, how do you think this reform will impact maternal and child care, health care in underserved regions?
Excuse me. Well, we know the factors in our maternal and child health. One, quite a number of people don't even trust the hospital. A lot of those hospitals are not properly equipped. The number of delivery in hospital is still very low. Immunization is reduced. We're not incentivizing patronage of the hospital. Indeed, things like access to family planning is constrained. So we have all these things militating against reduction in maternal and child death. So if we want to address those things, all we need to do, for me, I will do an ambitious program that will know every pregnant woman in this nation and link them to a center where they can have support. I will ensure that is done. So a lot of influences is not allowing the mothers and those children to seek care at appropriate time. So normally, if the 30,000 if the 30,000 existing primary health care centers are working, let's say 60% of them are working, it will have been easier for us to link those women and children to those centers. Working in the sense that if they have the right equipment, if they have the right human resources, if they have the right medications to use for these people, then of course those women will patronize them. In absence of that, when you have a primary health care center where you go there for 3-5 days, you won't see any expert to attend to you. You will resist going there, and you probably patronize the local people. Now, if we make those, let's say, out of that 30,000, if 20,000 are working, of course, we'll have solved a problem. But why are we now setting up more? What would make them better than those ones that we have set up? Why are we not conserving our money and reserving it for the new ones, for the old ones that we have on ground? So I don't understand, except we have that means of accelerating training for medical doctors and nurses and health workers, which cannot be done. How do you accelerate? You know how many number of times the lecturers go on strike, even the medical people. These are constraining the training of those critical workers. So we need to, it's not by, I repeat, it's not by establishing additional things. Let's make those one with us work. If it works, we will reduce maternal mortality, we will reduce infant mortality, we will reduce catastrophic health experiences like stroke or severe diabetes. Let those one on the ground work.
So if you were advising on the rollout, what would be your top 3 priorities for ensuring the center deliver real impact?
Well, you must make your center be people-friendly. Your center must be able to create the necessary assurance for people that, yes, come, patronize us. They must create that assurance. Your center has to be properly equipped. Security must be in your center. Transportation must be easy, okay? Drugs, hospitals must be there. Your center must also be able to reach to the community and educate them in case of any seasonal diseases. So we have function within the community from the center. We have the issues that concern the center itself and human resources. So all those one has to be top notch. And of course, we must maximize health information and medical records to help people understand issues concerning health in that area.
Corruption and mismanagement have hindered past reforms. How can transparency and accountability be built into the execution of this particular plan?
Well, it's part and part of it, okay? Because what we call governance, what we call clinical governance, is an essential part of healthcare. It should be an essential part of the healthcare in that settings. There's a governing board for this small local government within the community who can then supervise how the community works. We must be able to create that kind of assurance at that level where the community groups are part and parcel of the management board of those primary healthcare centers. I think it's important because that means that if they neglect those community centers that is in their domain, they're also neglecting their health. They have to do that. Then the other thing is that at the level of the primary healthcare, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, at the state equivalent, we must be able to provide supervisory roles on this primary healthcare center and let them get data from them and ensure that they keep to the core duties and reduce needless death and sickness.
So would you say this health reform plan aligns with Nigerians' universal health coverage goals?
UCH goal is actually, we have a 2030 target, which we are also looking at. Yes, it is. It's part and parcel of trying to push for universal health coverage. It's not just about access. You are talking about quality also. You are talking about affordability. If you are talking about universal health care, it's not, yes, access is key, affordability is key, quality is key. There must be no discrimination in access to the healthcare by any of these, of any of the members of the society. So, of course, it aligns with that. But if it's going to solve the problem of access, has it solved the problem of affordability? Has it actually add quality to the care? So we still have a lot to achieve under universal health care coverage. And we have just 5 years to get this done. I don't know how it's going to happen.
Looking ahead, how do we measure the success of this reform? What indicators should Nigerians watch for in the coming years?
Well, okay, we have to reduce our infant mortality. That's an indicator. Maternal mortality, that's an indicator. The reduction in catastrophic health occurrences like hypertension and severe diabetes, those are indicators. And then the level of patronage, how people are now confident in assessing patronizing your health system is also another indicator. We always know when these things are happening.
So lastly, how can communities and civil society organizations get involved to ensure accountability and long-term success of this PHCS?
Yeah, because, in reality, there's what we call the stakeholder in the community. It involves the traditional ruler, the market women, the young boys or association in that community. All of them should partner together to run the primary health care centers. Their component must be structured into that so that we can have the requisite result. If that is not done, and you just say it is government thing, a lot of people don't do well when handling government properties. So we need to have that community buy-in. We need to have that stakeholder buy-in. People must have confidence that this health center is going to work and address their issues. So there must be a proper referral, emergency care in those centers that can, address towards health occurrences. So, stakeholder participation, building trust, and ensuring that the place is affordable and well-equipped will do a lot of things in reducing those factors.
Medical practitioner Dr. Tsiyu Mebawondo, we appreciate your time and insights. And that's all for today's episode. We'll see you again next time. I am Ogechukwu Ukekwe. Bye for now.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
Because when you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
My name is Omotoyosi Olarewaju Ogunlende. I'm an artist. I study art from the Yaba College of Technology, where I did my OND and my HND. And I graduated from the Department of Art. I majored in sculpture. My father used to love art though. He's late now. May his soul rest in peace. And my mom didn't give me any issues about me practicing art or not. So basically, I've got art inside me from while I was a child. I used to draw back then, and my mom used to sell some of my drawings for me in church. So I've had art in me basically. So I'm a born artist. Well, like I said, I started while I was a child. I started drawing from comics, you know. I pick up comics and I draw, and that's how I knew I think I've got some art, you know, art skills in me basically. So art has been inside of me basically. If you're asking for string art, basically I've been doing string art in a very short while now, say like 3-4 years now. Yeah, basically I've been doing string art. I ran into string art. In I think 2016, yes, at an art conference where I went with a brother of mine. I saw this dude he was just stringing on the wall, like on a long stretch, no particular design. He was just from one nail to the other, from one nail to the other, from one nail to the other, like that continuously. And it formed this rays of different colors. And I was so, you know, it caught my attention. And I didn't even ask the guy what's his name. I didn't have any conversation with the guy. I just saw it. I took pictures that I lost some of them. I can't even find them any longer. So I just saw it and I was wondering, I came back to Nigeria and I was wondering, okay, that art that I saw, what's it called? What is it called? And I just went on Google and I was like, is it thread art? Is it nail art? Is it string art? And voila. And I saw different forms of string art, you know, from normal, you know, simple artworks created and into portraiture, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And that's how I found myself into it. Following, you know, different artists who are into string art via social media, and it has been a wonderful followership and understudying some string artists in the diaspora. what made me focus on string art, basically I saw it as a different form of art. A form of art that you can liken to painting on canvas, you can liken to sculpture, you can liken to watercolor and the likes of it. So that's what I focused it because it wasn't that known, if I should say that, in this part of the world in Nigeria. It wasn't that known in Nigeria, and it's still not known yet though. Well, achievements basically, Bella Africana had an award sometimes, I think 2017 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I was nominated, and I know there are more achievements to come basically, but personally it has paid off for me. And like I say, is my found love. That's what I call string art. So I do string art even to the smallest piece. If it's possible for me to string, I will string it. Challenges basically is not a widely accepted, form of art in this part of the world, because trying to push it out there, trying to market it, trying to get people known and all that. It has been challenging in such a way that questions like how durable is it? Does it last long, and what have you? I would say that has been the challenge, and also back to how you charge and all that. So basically that has been the challenge. So far so good basically. For me, the materials are readily available because you have here the armor, threads, and nails. They are all readily available, and the woods that I use, the boards that I use, they're readily available. So they are not too much of materials that are challenging for me to find around. So materials are readily available. It's just what you interpret with the medium, which is the nails and thread. Yes, what you interpret with it perhaps might be, a bit challenging. But so far so good. God has been wonderful. First and foremost, I would say displaying them at galleries, displaying them at art shows, art fairs, which I had a group exhibition last year, Different Strokes, with four artists, 2 females and 2 male. So I was able to display my works there, and I also leverage on social media, which is my Instagram handle, I also push it on social media, Facebook, which that's for many artists right now, that's our own gallery, So that's basically, how I push it out there. People get to know it. I've got so many commissions via Instagram, and I give them the glory. for me, my greatest achievement so far, because I haven't gotten to it yet, so far my greatest achievement has been impacting my knowledge, impacting my knowledge of the string art, steps, methods, and what have you of string art into children and even adults too. So basically that's been my achievement so far. Future plan basically for me is to be known worldwide as Nigerians' famous string artists basically. For me, that's my future plan, and I'm hoping to have a series of exhibitions locally and internationally. Say nothing brings money, but how diligent, how good, persistent, and creative you are with that thing you do, it will bring the money. Basically, that's it for me. Because likewise, you too, if you're not good at what you do, you won't be here. If you're not creative at what you do, you won't be here. So for me too, yeah, people say there is no money in art. Now, would we say there's money in banking? Because I sit at the counter and I receive money, it's not my money. Do you understand? So for me, what you do with your hands, diligently, wisely, persistently, will definitely bring that money you want your way and the fame. Indirectly, I won't use the word train, say inspire. Do you understand? Yes. I've been able, I can't say how many people, because not everybody will come out and say, you inspired me, A lady sometimes back on Instagram, she's a cake maker. She just posted it and said my string art inspired her to produce this kind of cake, and I was, wow, oh, amazing. There's a lady too in Brazil that has been chatting me up, she's also a string artist and trying to ask me questions, how she can go about this, how she can go about that. So for me, it goes a long way. So you never can tell how many people you've been able to inspire or touch their lives. So that's why I coined it down to indirectly. I know I've inspired different kinds of people, either in the art sector or in whatever sector you can call it. But somehow, because other people too in other field have also inspired me, to also keep up my craft. So basically for me, I know I've inspired different people in different areas. they say, under the heavens, you know. But for me, the material I use, which is the nail and thread, for me makes it unique because it's not a widely found medium of art in this part of the world. So basically, for me, the materials I use and how, well, that's what I've been told, how neat, you know, and firm, you know, my threads are usually on the nails, basically, for me, makes it stand out. So far, so good. My work has been to the United States, which a private collector bought off me in Nigeria here and took it over there. So basically, for me, that's why I said it's work in progress. You get it? So for now, so far, so good. Yeah, we're working on going globally. For me, I would say it's an achievement being one of the recognized, you know, or the foremost, or the one who pushed string arts out there in Nigeria, which we're still working on, we're still keeping at it. For me, I would say it's not adding to my bank account though, but it's a plus though. Yeah, whether I like it or not, you know, it's a plus. People who know me to be, okay, the string artist and all that, which I gave myself that name, the string one, you know, but it's not yet, so to say, a name that will be, you know, on the lips of everybody. But I know very soon, someday, one day, it will definitely be. I can't say I've arrived, really, because work never ends. Even the topmost recognized artists, the Yusuf Grillo and the likes of them, you know, Baba Oshinowa and Co, you know, they are still working. So for me, I haven't arrived yet. Really, sky is just the starting point for me. So I haven't gotten to that point where I will sit back and say I've arrived. Nah, I'm not God, though I'm a mini God, but then I haven't gotten to that point or peak yet. Any hardworking, diligent, and focused person inspires me. And if I should pick from the world of string artists, there's this lady in UK, Debbie Smith. She inspires me with her works. She's a great string artist, a great artist basically. So she inspires me. And back home here, there are lots of artists. I can't start mentioning names right now, but there are lots of artists back home here that inspires me. As long as, hardworking, diligent, focused, you know, and at the top of his or her game. Yeah, that's what inspires me basically. I won't lie to you. Yes, I do get injured. I even have I have a scar on my thumb right now, and oftentimes yes, I get injured and you just stomach it and you forge your head. Basically, when you get injured, that shouldn't be a stumbling block. For you to say I'm not doing this. But I kid you not, it's not an easy medium. It's not, basically.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
Because when you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world. A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
On the news, court sentences BRT driver Omini Koron to death by hanging for killing fashion designer Bamishe. United States FBI and DEA failed to release dossier on Tinubu, seek 90-day extension. And NCDC warns of cholera surge, gives update on other outbreaks. It's a pleasure to have you join News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Joy Uchejem. Now, after 3 long years, the High Court sitting in the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos have convicted and sentenced to death a bus rapid transit BRT driver, Andrew Ominikoron, for the murder of a 22-year-old fashion designer, Bamishe Ayonwola. In a judgment that lasted over 2.5 hours, Justice Serifat Shonaike held that the prosecution, the Lagos State government, successfully proved beyond reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the offense. Although there was no eyewitness account of the incident, the court relied on a series of circumstantial evidence, the evidence of the pathologist and the dying declaration of the victim, all of which the judge held pointed solely to the defendant as the last person to see her before her death on February 26, 2022.
This I see is the first phase. So, because he didn't do this thing alone, all right? So, from the admissible voice notes Bamishe dropped, were made to know that there are other people in the vehicle, all right? There are other people in the vehicle. So, if this is all Nigeria police can give us, they cannot bring the phone she was using to do the conversation. It was actually tracked. We were tracking the phone of Bamishe and himself, and they were in the same location. All right. So when you got this guy, definitely Bamishe's phone was with him. All right. So what happened? What about these other accomplices? All right. So for the judgment given on him, it is a maximum. Okay. So it is the maximum. There is nothing bigger than being hanged. He has been given sentence to death by hanging. So this is the maximum anybody can get.
Andrew Nice Ominikoron with others at large. It was confirmed in the court here. So the question now is, who are those other 3 or 4 people? They should be identified, named, and brought to justice. That is our stand. So we're having a demand. It's a 3-point demand, not demands, just one demand. In the civil society, that was one demand. If 2 are met, 1 is not met, justice has not been given. That is one. Those who were there in the bus, as at the time Bamishe was murdered, should be identified, named, and brought to justice.
And in other stories, the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Drug Enforcement Administration have requested a 90-day extension from a district court to produce documents relating to an alleged drug investigation involving President Bola Tinubu dating back to the 1990s. The request was submitted in a joint status report filed with the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. The case stemmed from a series of Freedom of Information Act requests by an American legal transparency advocate and founder of the platform Plainsight, Aaron Greenspan, who is Chicago-based drug ring and has named Tinubu along with 3 other individuals. And the National Assembly has pledged its full support for the Progressive Institute, an initiative of the All Progressives Congress APC dedicated to training young Nigerians in democratic principles, leadership and governance. The Deputy President of the Senate, Jibrin Barau, gave the assurance while receiving the Director General of the Institute, Lanre Adebayo, and members of his management team during a courtesy visit to the National Assembly complex in Abuja. Barau further explained his personal commitment to ensuring the success of the Progressive Institute.
Really, I commended all of you, commended National Chairman. So my recommendation goes to National Chairman, of course, all of you, for bringing this institute into our country. And it's not going, all I know is that it's not going to be to the benefit of APC as a party. No. It's not going to be. It's a journey for the entire democracy in this country. Not even this country, in the entire region. Thank God I'm the first deputy speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament. So I will also want to plead. I also want to extend your tentacles beyond the confines of this country.
We are determined to enhance peace and stability of this country, and also to ensure growth and development of all sectors, despite the global challenges of the economy and the insecurity. We have the belief of our leadership that we can be able to achieve a progressive and a vibrant progress, as you will partner with you to enhance progress of this country.
An environment where party leaders can interact without competing, where they can interact and engage in discussing common issues concerning the party, issues of leadership, issues of financing, issues of reviewing what we've done in the last 2 years. Because by 2020, May 29th, we will have been 2 years in government. How far have we done in terms of managing the party at the state level, and what we can do more, and then reviewing the manifesto of the party.
And moving to health matters, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, local government areas in 9 states. During the media briefing in Abuja, the Director General of the NCDC, Jide Idris, expressed concern over the rising number of cholera infections poses a serious public health threat. Idris believes that the outbreak is caused by failure, inadequate access to clean water, and widespread open defecation.
Action at the federal, state, and timely interventions that can help prevent waterborne disease outbreaks like cholera. NCDC is actively tracking these occurrences. As at the epidemiological week 16, that week ending April 20th, 1,307 suspected cases of reported across 30 states and 98 local government areas, with 34 associated deaths.
And in furtherance of its commitment to strategic and skilled areas, the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPRA, at the CRAB Theatre Arts Department, Unifor Target, has commenced the livelihood training of 100 Ogoni youths. Creative arts, one of the of the project's promise to provide value addition and high demand skills for Ogoni youths. He emphasized that the strategic partnership with the Theatre Arts Department of the University of Port Harcourt is to ensure quality training for the trainees.
Take this training seriously. Learn what you can. A knowledge acquired is yours. It is not the people paying for it that knows it. It is you who's been trained that owns this knowledge, and it is you who can put it to use. And so, he said that you should bring yourself on a cool compartment, listen to the distinguished lecturers who are going to teach you that men of experience. The same people who train some of the Nollywood people you know around. All our own people. They all pass through this important school of theater arts.
So the program is in 2 phases. The first phase is a 3-week theory program. And then in the 4th week, we'll have the master classes. That is where we'll have Charles Imoche, we'll have Besu, Judodo to take you on all these other aspects so that you have an industry-based training experience. So that's why we call it the master class.
So when I saw the message that I should come for this orientation program, I was so happy. I had to leave Akwa Ibom State to my state in order for me to partake in this program. So I'm happy. I thank HYPOEM for this wonderful program that they gave to the people of Ogoni. I'm so happy.
And on to security matters, some of the villagers in communities that suffer
is taking this, no noting, firing. He who is has gotten you, has gotten you. He who that escape, assuring you. From that, the security came. It was where that